Welcome everyone to Packmates, a podcast about Magic the Gathering Limited, where we take a deep dive into the current limited formats. The Packmates are a group of friends that love drafting, hanging out, and going to FNM. I'm Andrew, the mid-range expert.
I'm Robi, the resident Dirtle expert.
And I'm Ryan, the resident aggro expert.
And we're the Packmates.
Oh, you didn't do a long and.
And
we are the Packmates. Oh.
And if you like our content, check us out on TikTok, Cerule's Packmates, Twitter at PackmatesMTG, YouTube at Cerule's Packmates, podcasts on Spotify, Amazon, Google, and Castbox. And this week we'll be doing an FNM recap, just a tip, common signals, and the Sigma of the week.
Why don't you lead us through your FNM deck, Robi?
Alrighty. Why is that, Ryan? Why am I going first this week?
You got the quotation mark fingers alpha of the week.
No, like in the placements, how did I end up, Ryan?
Fourth.
Where'd you end up?
Sixth.
Oh, so I was like,
what was my record? What was my record though?
It was a 2-1, right? It was 2-1. It was respectable, right?
It's fine because if I'm ever something in one, I don't deserve alpha. So I get it. Like I don't want it.
It's cool. I don't even believe in the alpha.
What's real?
That only works in domesticated wolves, and I'm a wild animal. So it just doesn't work. So this week I had the most scuffed red-white deck where it wasn't really red-white. I was running everything else. Just a turbo scuffed red-white aggro. And that's basically it. Like I had Bard, I had like Cavaliers, just basic red-white stuff, and then just random blue and black cards.
12 2-drops.
Wow.
So 12 2-drops, yeah. Just like all the good 2-drops.
Let's paint a picture. So we got 1 1-drop, 12 2-drops. Looks like 7 3-drops, 2 4-drops, a 5-drop, and a 6-drop.
6 drops basically a 1-drop, right?
Sure.
And 4 colors.
It's very rare that you see a 4-color deck without green.
Yeah, so it's extra bad.
And without fixing in a self-labeled aggro deck.
It was not very aggro. It was aggro, but like not really. It was just a janky, scuffed aggro deck. Super bad.
It's a mid-range deck with an aggro curve for you people at home.
Yes, just constant 2-drops.
Robi, I see you have Raph in your deck.
Yeah, he's good.
How many instances sorcerers did you play in this deck?
3. Like, he wasn't there for that. He was just jammed in a red-white aggro deck to pump up my guys, right? Like, definitely never tap 2 creatures. Ever. In this deck. So, yeah. He wasn't ideal, but he won me games just off of pumping, so... Sometimes 1+1/+1 in vigilance for 5 is just good, right, Andrew?
It is. It is true. And he won me games last week. He's very good.
Yep.
Although I did draw some cards off of him.
Yeah, I drew 0 cards off him. The only thing that I drew cards off of in this deck was Throw of Possibility, which is pretty scuffed in a red-white deck. But it did trigger my Raven Man once, which was nice. But yep, not too much to talk about with this deck. Just
what all rares did you have?
I had Urtai Resurrected with the 4-mana 3/2 with flash that destroys a creature. The Defiler.
Blue-black, by the way. Blue-black.
Yeah, blue-black, yeah. Like, not red-white at all. Like, as one of my 2 pieces of removal was Urtai Resurrected. I also had a Flowstone Infusion. Very bad removal suite. The Defiler of Instinct, which is...
How many red permanents did you have, Robi?
Good question, Ryan. 2. 3.
3.
3 other red permanents. Right? I never got the ping off them. That's
shocking.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? And then I basically just won games with Mesa Cavaliers that I shouldn't have won. Like, that's kind of just how it played out. Yep. So how was your deck, Ryan? Mine was pretty
we're moving
good.
on already?
Oh, you want to keep talking about it? Okay.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right,
talk
what else?
about these 3 islands and 2 swamps in your deck. Did those
The most
trip you
scuffed
up
mana
any?
base. No. Yeah. I definitely had games where I just did not get all colors of mana for sure. But
Yeah.
my first game I just got fucking rolled. My very first game and my first match. I just got rolled because I kept a island mountain hand with no red or blue cards in it. Just got
More importantly, where's the forest to kick Shalai's Acolyte?
Oh man.
You're a coward, and you've really sold out, and it shows in your deck. You can just tell this deck's I hope I can get alpha this week somehow. Because you didn't even put a forest in there. I'm just so disappointed.
I thought about it. Dude, if I would have got a duel, I would have put it in there, right?
Oh man.
I don't even have a way to find a land, right?
It's called Thrill of Possibility. What are you talking about?
That's the worst way.
And Goblin Picker.
Goblin Picker, yeah. Oh man. It felt bad not to have the forest, but what the fuck am I does that really work in my deck? No. I just wanted the 3/4 flyer, genuinely. And it kinda did work a little bit, as scuffed as a 5-mana 3/4 flyer is.
So
sometimes they just win you games.
On a Dragon Ball Z power level of 0 to over 9,000, what would you say the power level of your deck is?
Probably 2,000.
Wow, that's generous.
That's honest. That's very honest.
2,000 to 9,000 on a scale from 1 to 10. That's not generous.
No,
Andrew.
That's not generous at all.
Andrew.
It's a 2.
This seems pretty.
Yeah, it's a 2. No, it worked. I've won games.
Clearly.
Kinda, but it's okay.
One of your bottom 5 cards, you're I kind of just won using that card, so I don't know. I'm reevaluating. Because Mesa Cavaliers are not good, right?
No, they're terrible.
And then that's the only way you win games, right?
Between that and Soaring Drakes, I just won to people who didn't have reachers.
So you're saying next week just draft Flyers and it's going to win
you
games?
You can do that.
A lot.
Yeah.
I think Flyers is good. Yeah, I think
Flyers
it's
good. Yeah, that's totally fine to do, right?
Yeah. Did you ever play Shalai's Acolyte, the 3/4 flyer that you can kick for 1 and a green to get 2 counters?
I played it for 5. It was okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I wasn't expecting much out of it, right?
Yeah.
But it's a 3/4 flyer. That's pretty big.
How many times did you draw your Flanix, your 4/4 vigilance that costs 1 less for each creature you control?
Probably half my games, and I always cast it for 1.
It always costed 1?
Yeah, because I don't have anything but creatures in my deck. And I'm usually running them out pretty early, right? Because
your land always works. Drops. No, I get it. You always get the lands you need. Understand? It doesn't work for everyone, but it works for you. I'm glad it works.
I mean, that's how it's done. Yeah, you just get the good lands every time, only having 3 dual lands in your deck.
4 colors.
4 colors.
And it's a pretty hard 4 colors, right?
He has 5 blue cards and 3 blue sources. He has 3 black cards and 4 black sources. He has
when I
one
built
double
this in Arena, I realized that it auto built my mana base way fucking different than I built it in real life. I just had I just jammed random amounts of swamps and islands and mountains.
Double pip Defiler with he's calling this a red white aggro deck. I do want to state that there's 6 red cards, 6 also red sources.
That's more than blue cards, right?
6 red cards. Yeah, that's 1 more than blue cards.
Yeah,
6 red sources. One of the red cards is double pip though, so it makes sense there. And then we got if you count the dualies, we got, let's see, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14 white cards with 7 white sources.
Yeah.
So
half as much, right? That's
I think 7's fine. Yeah, 7's fine.
That's not too
red 6. I think 6 is a little bit Dream World to cast Defiler, to play Defiler. I think 6 sources is definitely
Yeah.
Hoping you
It's
get
not-
pretty lucky on the Defiler games, but
Yeah.
I think 6 is fine for like all the other cards, except for like Kavu. Like, why are you playing Kavu when you're only gonna have one mountain ever? But
I had 2 usually.
really,
Yeah, surprisingly. In
with
the
no
games I
card
played.
draw, you had 2 mountains
I
usually.
had thrills.
gosh.
That's like, yeah, like it's
Okay.
luck, right? Like it doesn't make sense, but
Yeah. Okay.
as a man of science, you know,
Yeah.
I just get there.
You know me. What the fuck do I know? I'm just a math guy.
Yeah, you're just a math guy. Like you just aren't right with the Lord, Ryan. You know,
Yeah,
you just gotta live your life a certain way.
So
Somebody
if you
hex
had
my
the
subs.
FNM over again, Robi, and you had you think you could win 2 games with this thing again?
Probably Loki.
Is it-
Like honestly, like
Wow.
it's not that bad. It looks a lot worse than it really is. Like you're just curving out creatures, right? Sometimes that just wins.
Or you just
If
don't
people
get
are dicking around, and they
Yeah.
don't just have answers constantly, like you can just beat. them.
Yeah, it's good against.
It's good
not
against the
good
slower
decks.
decks, right?
Slower decks, yeah, dirtle decks.
Yeah.
How does it feel knowing the person that you passed to beat you in the championship?
He beat me before the championship.
Oh, my
Yeah,
bad. I thought he
so-
beat you in the championship.
No,
Yeah.
no. He beat me
Wait.
before the championship.
You got
He beat-
fourth and you didn't even lose in the third round? What are you
No, I
what is
lost in
going
the second
on?
round.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Get good, Scrubs.
What a mystery.
You can't. How'd your deck turn out, Ryan?
It was honestly better than it looks. I built a real quick spiel here. I built a white black kind of go whitish deck. I had 2 Cult Conscripts. Those are 2 ones that you can bring back from the graveyard if something else dies for 2. Had a couple of the Argivian Cavaliers, the 2/2 that makes a 1/1 for 3. Vanilla Sleeper that you can kick for a black, and everyone, like both people, have to sack a dude. There's just a bunch of bodies with 2 heroic charges +2/+1 to the team, and then a couple destroy evils, a couple runic shots. Just a pretty normal pile of white black bodies. I will say I did have 2 writhing necromasses. Those are the 5/5s that cost 1 less for each creature in your graveyard. For 7, those usually cost about 3 or 4 for me because I was pretty aggressively trading my stuff to try to get damage in and work my buffs. I did have join forces +2/+2 on tap, but it's just white black with like some buffs, a couple tricks, couple removal, kind of go whitish. The deck worked pretty well. I did lose to a guy that I think he got like second.
Yep. How are those heroic charges? Those look the most sus.
They were very good.
Yeah.
Really?
Every time I drew them, I won the game.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they were very good. I often had 4 to 5 bodies on the battlefield. When I didn't, they were still getting the damage in because I just put everyone on such a clock. Really, like they had to play stuff, and when in this format, a lot of people don't play a 2-drop unless they're like meaningful, which like I think we've started to realize. Like in this format, you don't really just jam 2-drops into your deck
Yeah,
like
unless
you're
you're
trying to
mean.
do. Yeah, like unless you're
I'm-
like really going for the aggro deck, right? Like you just don't jam like
yeah,
do nothing 2-drops in this format.
yeah,
Really.
yeah.
And so like the Banali Sleeper really punish, those turn 3, turn 4 players, especially when I'm on the play and I play like a Cavalier into a Sleeper into like any 4-drop, and then I have Take Up the Shield open. They play something, they feel like they have to block. I blow them out with Take Up the Shield, or they don't play something and try to remove something. I blow them out with Take Up the Shield. Like it was just take control of the game early and never give it back really. And if I ever did give it back, I was probably going to lose.
Did you ever really aggro anybody out? I feel like you just kind of got a board position and then just kind of won on some 2 or 3 big swings. Probably 2 big swings, really.
Yeah, I think like I always had the gas on. I mean, I played against you and like you were taking, 2 to 5 damage probably every turn, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So I always had the gas on, but no, it wasn't like a turn 5, turn 6 aggro, like I'm going to win deck. It was more like a turn 8. I'm going to have board pressure on you the whole time. And once you finally start to build your board, you're just not going to be able to deal with enough of my dudes.
Yeah.
Like it's just
kind of what I felt too. It looked kind of aggro with those Cult Conscripts, but Really, it was kind of a smokescreen for really what you were doing was just developing a board, chip damage in, and then just finish them off with one big swing when they're just kind of barely getting their footing.
Yeah. It was just a super tempo deck. I feel like would be the right word for it. It was just punish people for not doing anything in any of the first 5 turns. It was just super punishing. And then if they made the decision that they were going to try to cheese kill one of my guys with like tribute to Urborg or extinguish or something like that, and I could hit it with take up the light or a join forces or a heroic charge to cancel out their buff, that was usually the game, honestly. Like just the decision of not trying to develop their board and just deal with my board first, like would just be a death sentence for most people.
Oh man.
What was that Love Song of Night and Day? I know that wasn't the actual card in your deck.
Yeah,
this will be a nice segue.
Yeah, we had to draft a set booster tonight, so this is a nice grain of salt week. We're gonna go ahead and pin another asterisk up on Robi's offense.
Oh yeah,
Sigma. I'm Alpha. I'm better than you guys.
This is asterisk number 2. Those of you at home can keep an asterisk count because we'll probably pin some more on. But we had to draft a set booster first pack, and I got like some list cards. I got the only one I played was colorless double white for a 2/2 first striker and knight that had protection from red and black, and that was pretty good. I don't know, there's a lot of removal that he was immune to in a lot of dudes over the course of the night, so it was pretty good.
That seemed real stupid. Like that's so dumb. Like that's the card I couldn't beat in your deck, right?
Yeah, you literally had no way to deal with that card in my deck.
Yeah.
Like that's super dumb. Just as an asterisk too, like I opened a Blazing Shoal, which I've desperately tried to like find some way to just jam a Blazing Shoal in my deck and nuke people with like the big monstrosity, the red one. But I didn't see a single one in the draft.
What's Blazing Shoal?
That's I don't even know why we're reading it because it's
just quick description of what it does. It's the one that you get to pitch a card from your hand, a red card from your hand, and it gives a creature plus X, where X is that card's mana cost. It's like a plus X plus O, right?
Yeah, plus X plus O, like which would have been real stupid on like a Mesa Cavalier pitching a monstrosity and doming him for 10.
The Gitu amplifier with that and Twin Strike.
Yeah, that would be so stupid. like just like the dumbest card. It's like banned at Modern, right? Like it's so unbelievably powerful and dumb.
I just don't understand how you play a double pip red creature and not want to play a double pip fireball in your deck.
He was too worried about the fact that he could pitch a card and didn't really focus on the fact
I only wanted to cheat with it, right? like pitching a card with it is basically just cheating, right, Andrew? That's all I was interested in using it for.
I don't know. I'm interested in tapping all my mana and just killing them with a Mesa Cavalier. Like, he's pretty strong.
Yeah, that's real stupid for sure.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Just kind of weird that you were willing to play the double pip and not the double pip.
That was a good point. I never even thought about ever hardcasting it ever. Like I was completely. I didn't even read that part.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah, for sure. So what else was in your deck, Ryan? How was Aaron?
Aaron was basically just a 3/3 menace for me. I did have like a little bit of cheekiness with join forces where I could swing with them and then untap them and potentially sack something, but I never really needed to do that. But I always considered it just because I thought it was cool, right? Because like join forces is the untap 2 dudes and give them +2/+2. And Aaron's the 3/3 menace for double white and a black that you can pay a white and black and sack another creature and give 1/1 counter on all your creatures. He was fine, but like I feel like I had 2 Cult Conscripts, which are the 2 ones you can bring back, and I never drew any of those the entire time I played tonight. So like Aaron was kind of there for when I draw the Cult Conscripts and I can just repeatedly sack them, or like I can sack them, then sack something else, and bring one back and sack it. You know what I mean? Like if I ever needed to get over the edge in late game, think it was my way to do it, is what I felt like it was there for. And also just to swing for 3 every time with Menace, and people were scared of all my buffs, so they would never block.
Yeah. Was Anointed Peacekeeper your only rare?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's a
Paladin,
good rare, though.
And the Paladin, yeah. The 10th edition card that was in my deck.
Oh, that's a rare?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
incredibly good.
Yeah, it is very good. Right.
And Quetzalcoatl. Shout out to Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, I couldn't have ever killed him in my deck, right?
Nah, that guy's
Yeah.
it can
What
work.
would I have?
I don't even think you could have ever swung into him, could you have?
Nah,
I think I could have blocked it with the Sea Scavenger. That's it. That's like the only.
Well, I
card
didn't
in
have
my...
pro white. You had a bunch of white.
Oh, it's pro. It was just
But it
pro
also
black
first
and red. Yeah.
Yeah. It had first
Oh,
strike,
yeah.
though. It did have first
Yeah.
strike. It was basically just the one-stop shutdown for your deck, I think.
Yeah, that would have got me. It blanks both of my 2 removal spells.
Yeah, I know. What can you even do? You can't even kill it if you drew your Defiler and all your red permanents to go with it.
Yeah, all 3 of them, right? That's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love the idea of Aaron. Like,
It's
but
always
in
better than-
actuality, it's just not that great.
Yeah, it's like a triple pipped card, right?
Well, like that wasn't a problem because I'm just pure 2
Yeah.
colors, right?
Yeah, but still, like,
But just like the thought of Aaron, like, oh, dude, I can just sack one of my extra 1/1s and give all my guys a
it
counter.
doesn't work though. It doesn't work in actual real life though, because like then you can't attack with them. So
Like-
what's the point of having a 3/3 menace if you aren't ever attacking with it and you're trying to keep him back to sack stuff to give things +1/+1 counters, right?
Yeah, well, you see,
That's usually how it goes.
cards can do more than one thing, you see. So, like,
Yeah, like
when
Wrath.
it's correct to attack with them, then you just attack with them, right? Like, you just get 3 damage in, sure.
Yeah.
But when you can't really attack with them anymore, that's when you start sacking stuff. But
But
also,
I've just never seen it truly work.
I know you can't win every FNM. I know you can't win every Premier draft and Quick draft and all that. But when I don't get packs, that's what makes me hungry. It's like this week I'll probably put in a little bit more work because I got 6th than I normally do.
Yeah, no. I'll just take my beats and 4th place, you know. It's fine. I'll just drop the same scuffed aggro deck. Well, anyways, Andrew, how'd your deck turn out?
It was all right. Honestly, it was just a bad table for it. You know, there was just someone to the 2 spots to the right of me who was in domain. I decided to go domain. It was open. Green was open to me. And so I ended up getting this like kind of 4 color and a little bit of splash of white. The white I knew was not to me. Ryan was actually to my right. And so I knew white was pretty much cut off. I didn't know black was that bad, although, you know, it was fine. I got past the extinguish the light. The double black and 1 or double black and 2 removal spell. It was all right. I needed some more dual lands, and there was another person 2 spots to the left of me who was actually going domain as well. Something that happened this week is that we drafted, you know, I think we said it earlier, but we drafted a set booster instead of a regular booster. And in cards where it's like decks like domain that need, like you have to waste basically some picks doing the getting the dual lands, it really hurts to not have those extra, even if it was 2 or 3 cards or whatever it was. Ended up being, that really hurts this kind of style of deck. And so the person who was 2 spots to the right of me was actually picking, and this is what I probably should have picked up on earlier, was with that little of a card pool, if you're going to go domain, you might as well just pick up the lands as soon as you can. They're not going to table because there's less cards out there. And so that was just something to be aware of when that kind of happened. Obviously, this won't happen again, or I just won't draft a set booster draft with like booster packs. I mean, that's just, at that point, you might as well just do a chaos draft. Just a chaos draft, meaning like you pick random packs and just draft 3 packs of booster.
Which is fun.
It is
fun.
It's a real nice palate cleanser when you're there. I don't know, the deck was fine when it had the mana for it, but it was just, you know, the mana was pretty bad most of the time.
Yeah, it looks pretty
like I didn't really feel like it was a terrible deck. There were some questionable cards in here, but honestly, when it functioned pretty well. I got top decked out of my first win. The second game, or was it first game, 3rd match or something like that? Just got a top deck. I mean, that happens. It's magic. And then in my second round, I won. And in the 3rd round, I had a pretty good matchup with pretty good set with Ryan, and he kind of got me just going over the top a little bit. Yeah, stumble with the mana when you're playing against a 2-color deck. The 2-color decks are there to, basically beat down these kind of really greedy mana bases. And this was especially greedy because I only had 4. I only had 4 dual lands in one of my matches.
They weren't even they were like super off color kind of dual lands too, right?
Yeah, it was all right. If you see like the double 2 blue ones. And so it was splashing into my other, like my light
into
blue
your Tatiova, right?
Yeah, so they kind of got me to my splashes, except for the Sacred Peaks. The Sacred Peaks was pretty greedy, but it also gave me it was my 1 lone plains.
That's okay.
Sprouting Goblins were pretty good at getting domain.
It turns on your Sojourners and your Codex.
Why don't you paint us a quick picture of your deck? What's your top 3 cards and bottom 3 cards in this deck? What's the range?
Probably the range, like the bottom 3 cards are probably like Battle Rage Blessing. That was just kind of there just to keep things going.
What's that one do?
The Battle Rage Blessing is a 1 colorless, 1 black. It gives Death Touch and Indestructible to a creature. And so it's just kind of serviceable kind of thing. Probably the best card in the deck was Tatiova. Tatiova pretty much has been like that kind of flag bearer for the domain decks. It's always kind of been the big payoff for having a little bit of ramp strategy, and it just kind of gets you over that kind of hump there once you start turning your lands into 3/3 flyers with haste. Sprouting Goblin was quite good in this deck. What was kind of really sus here? Probably the Bone Splinters. That was pretty greedy. I had a couple of walls, but everything else is like really kind of high. Like needs to be.
You don't mind stacking like a Prodigy though, right? Like like the Vine Shaper Prodigy, like the 2-drop guy.
Yeah, it just wasn't getting. Yeah, the Vine Shaper Prodigy. Yeah, except it was on. You really want to play that on like 5, and the mana base was just so greedy on this. I really should have pared it down even more than what I had, and I probably should have just said goodbye to Tatiova and just played it.
Like, if you have blue mana, like, it doesn't make sense to me to not play your Tatiova, to not play the strongest card in your deck.
I think you need a Tatiova for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, you had 2 goblins and a scout to find it.
Really. It just looks like one of those decks where the 5-color decks need a base color. Like, green's the best color, but like you can kind of get away with like any base color.
How many dualies do you need to where you don't need a base color?
Like 7.
Yeah, I'd probably go up to 8 actually for me.
Yeah, like a shit ton.
Yeah.
Like to just have the deck where you can literally jam everything.
Yeah.
Like probably like 10 even. 10? Which isn't impossible. I've done it, right? Like it's super not impossible. But you need like 8 and like at least 2 grottos.
Yeah. I think I needed another domain payoff too. In this deck, like I needed some sort of like territorial Maro or something like that. Yeah,
the Maro. Or no, I think the Outrider probably would have just done it for
even the Outrider too, just a little something. It would have been nice to have another top end, like the Elfane Worm was kind of doing that role.
Yeah, it's sus, but the other one's just better. The Outrider, just domes them for 5.
Did Jonas Codex, the 5-mana artifact where you can pay 5 or less for each domain you have that draws a card? Did that do anything for you?
Yeah, it was fine. I actually had I had this matchup where basically I drew all but one of my lands because I hit this really bad flooding pocket. I mean, really, it was pretty nuts. I was drawing 2 lands a turn with the Jonas. 1 land for my turn, 1 land with Jonas Codex, and ended up winning that game in time just because my opponent stalled out, but I was able to plow through and probably 15 lands in play by the end of the game. I mean, it was pretty good, especially if you're going to go into a slower matchup with somebody. Like, there's just no beating the Jonas Codex. If you're going to dirtle, that's the dirtiest card you could have. It's going to just win you the game.
It's a good card.
It's pretty strong. It wasn't my first choice to play, main board. But looking at my deck, it's ramping up a bit. I'm with the 2 Sprouting Goblins. I'm pretty sure I'm going to hit domain. Like, just if I play one of them, I should probably have domain by then. Because 1, I've already kicked it. And 2, I've got I think I had an off-color one, maybe. No, I didn't have an off-color one, but it's a fetch. But I thought it was pretty good. And even just paying 1 to draw a card is good, or paying 2. I mean, my gosh, that's pretty strong.
Dear listener, I want you to look at this deck, and I want you to know that this is what happens when you sit to my left.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, except last week.
Except last week
when I was feeling generous.
Would you jam a Raffin here?
Oh, absolutely.
I would.
I would have
That's
switched.
fucking
Actually, I had a build that you didn't see that I actually started off with white, then I switched to black. The white was pretty good. It actually made the deck a little bit more aggro-y. I just didn't care for it as much. I didn't have the removal in there, and I didn't have Raven Man. I wanted to play Raven Man. I had it. That's another thing too. Sometimes you just don't know how good the rares are or bad they are without playing them. So I thought it was kind of cool to jam it this week.
Yeah.
Did Extinguish the Light feel greedy in the deck? Like, were you never able to cast it, or were you just always able to cast it?
No, I was able to cast it. You just got to be conscious about what you're casting. Like, if you look in here, really the only other double pip in here was the Tatiova, which is so late game over the top.
It's a 7-drop, right? Like, it's a 6-drop.
It's a 6-drop.
You
dropping a land.
play a land into it. Yeah, you don't play it early.
No, you really don't unless you're just totally screwed and really need to have something on the board. But for the Extinguished Light, no, it was just a conscious, like, I'll go find a swamp with my Sprouting Goblin or find the Geothermal Bog. Just something for that. Just be conscious of it. And you can kind of navigate that. It wasn't too bad.
Yep. It doesn't look like the worst deck I've ever seen, for sure.
It is like half the deck is 2-drops, and then the rest of the deck is evenly distributed from 1 to 6.
Kind of like mine, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Like Tatio is actually in the other slot, and then if you look at it, Sprouting Goblin,
it should be like a 6-drop, right?
Realistically, Sprouting Goblin is in the 3-drop slot. Void Shape in the 4-drop slot. This is
a complicated deck.
Yeah, it's actually deceiving with all the kicker. It makes it look like the deck, or like Fires of Victory really should be in a 5-drop slot, So
yeah, I mean, you'll fire it off early if you need it, though.
I fired it off early, too. I mean, it was a strong removal spell. Yeah. It was fine. It wasn't like, I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like it just mainly because I felt like I was missing cards, like, honestly. And it did feel the sting of that.
We did have like 3 less cards.
The set booster has not only less cards, but also has less common slots.
Yeah.
So you just have less opportunities for dual lands. Like, it just and this whole format is built around access to those dual lands, like the commons.
Feel like having a pack where you weren't going to get as many of the common cycle of creatures that get cheaper. It kind of mixes you up a little.
Yeah. I mean, there's just tons of every card almost in this format is playable, right? So, but just not having access to those dual lands really hampers you basically have access to with 3 less cards and all the random slots that are in set boosters, you basically have access 5 less common slots than you would normally have over the course of a draft. Times 8 people, so 40 less common slots. That's in at least 5 or 6 lands, more dual lands that would have been in the pod. I feel like.
I really should have just focused it down at that point. I mean, I didn't really realize. I'm not really a big person of just cracking packs. I didn't know what the hell a composition was for a set versus this. I looked.
You know what, Andrew? Nobody does.
Yeah,
nobody has any idea what's in those.
I thought about afterwards. That's why afterwards was like, man, it would have sucked to go domain. And I look over and Andrew's laying his stuff out. And I was like,
wow, yeah, you're definitely right. I mean, really, not having those commons, and it was just like, wow. I literally thought about just taking my deck and just walking out. And it didn't feel good. It just didn't feel good. It didn't feel like I got the full draft experience. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it does suck when you're looking forward to something all week and it just doesn't deliver,
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. We've all been there. We've all been there.
We've all
disappointed.
Yeah.
We've all talked a mean game, came
then came and I was inches away from that with this deck, right? With my deck, inches away from that.
Yeah. Had I known more of the composition or just actually realized what was going on there, I probably would have just gone straight jam 2 colors and just would never look back. Honestly, maybe 2 colors and a splash. And I probably should have just done that. I mean, really, had I known, I should have just noticed that there was just a shit ton of uncommons in there and no commons. And that really does mess with the composition of the decks. I mean, it just...
On a Dragon Ball Z power level from 0 to 9,000, what would you give it?
1,000. It's all right.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can I say my deck was probably a 3,000 too? No one asked me that
Ryan.
question.
Nobody asked you.
Nobody asked.
Nobody cares.
Let me tell you this, it's better than these 2 decks.
No,
I agree that Ryan's deck.
I'm not giving it up yet.
Well, 2 to 1.
I'm not
so.
giving it up yet.
2 to 1.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Like your loss to was a person who got like third or who got third, second, I guess, right?
Yeah, they split. Like,
Yeah, and like
I
my
lost the
one
first
was
place.
you
Right?
and to one of the third.
right. I lost to the guy that won the last three of the last like 3 weeks. That's who I lost to.
Yeah.
But I should have got him. I should have got him, and I'll get him next week. Don't worry. I promise. This I swear. I'll get him next week. No, I probably won't.
Is there any tips you could give me for next week, Ryan?
Yeah, I got a tip for you.
right.
So we're gonna go with our next segment. Just a tip. This is a segment where we're just gonna give you guys just a small tip about whatever we think needs to be known. So this week, my tip's about managing your mana in a paper game of Magic. And I notice a lot of people will line up, their plains together, their swamps together, their islands, whatever. I think that's actually not the best. My tip for you, listener, is to randomly put your stuff in a straight horizontal line, like in a random order: plains, island, swamp, plains, mountain, doesn't matter. That way, when you play a card, you have to intentionally look down and choose the mana that you want to tap. Or if you put it in these piles, these vertical columns, you'll kind of tap it together and you'll mistap more. So if you notice that you're someone that mistaps sometimes or often, I think it's best to lay your mana out in a random line. So you intentionally do that. And not only that, when you look down at your mana and you intentionally tap it, it also makes you think about intentionally what mana do you want to leave up? What signs do I want to show my opponent that I might have? I might want to leave up an island to show that I have an Essence Scatter. I might want to leave up a forest to show that I might have a Gaia's Might. Things like that. Just like little things you can do to your opponent to make them incorrectly perceive your hand or correctly perceive your hand because you do want to play it. But, things like that.
Yeah. Do you do that, Andrew?
No, I got way too much OCD for that. I gotta have my stuff like really, plotted out. Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to try it.
Whenever I tap my mana, I really try to intentionally leave open whatever the scariest thing in my opponent's eyes is. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like if I was to tap my mana and I had 2 mana left over because I just couldn't use it this turn, I would leave a white and a red open because they think, oh, he could have Furious Bellow, the +3/+0 on first strike. Oh, he could have what's the shield one? I forgot.
Take up the shield.
Take up the shield. He could have take up the shield. He could have Destroy Evil. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so many scary things that I want you there. When really I'm just sitting back here holding lands, honestly. But like, I want you to think that like, oh man, I better not block because he could have Furious Bellow. Like, and it'd be a blowout. Just stuff like that. Little edges here and there. You should.
I'll try it, Ryan. You convinced me.
You should.
Yep.
It's good.
Because I'm the person who just puts everything in the same fucking pile.
I used to be, honestly. I actually found this tip from like another pro. I think it was PVDDR.
Oh, nice.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. And I tried it once and I never went back. I just love it.
Nice. It's like all my pictures to be together. I play with matching lands. I just want to see them there. It's like an aesthetic thing.
Yeah.
I'm
the opposite. I'm the opposite.
I'm pretty careful to just pick my stuff up, though. I mean, I've been playing a while too, so it's like, okay.
But did you mistap some mana tonight, Andrew?
Probably. I don't know. I was so out of it, honestly, about just the deck in general. I didn't really care. I was already one loss in, so I didn't really care about winning or losing at that point.
Not even to me, really?
I knew I was going to lose. Your deck was already... I saw your deck earlier in construction, and I just felt like your deck just had the edge on me. I really had to have a lot of good things happen. I stumbled out of the gates a couple of times there. Yeah. So, it was like, okay, it's fine. I don't need to bluff it.
Yeah.
I knew already. Yeah.
What's your tip of the week, Andrew?
Tip of the week is anytime that I reveal something to my opponent or they know some information, I like to know, in fact, like what I have shown them. So I'll actually put the card back after I reveal my hand, like to a duress, to what's it in this set, the 3/3 vigilance cleric guy.
Anointed Peacekeeper.
Thank you. Anointed Peacekeeper. If I've revealed my hand to them, I actually put my cards upside down so I know what my opponent knows, what they've seen. And so like, say like you played or you have a land and you draw a land for your turn. Well, you want to play the land that they saw, not the land that you drew from your turn, because now they know or remember that you have another land in your hand. So those are kind of important to kind of pace out your turns that way. And I think that's probably the easiest, short of just playing them open on the table, And so I think that's a good one. You shuffle up. Maybe they'll forget. Maybe they'll forget what's in your hand.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm a table guy. I'm a firm believer in the table.
Would you put it on the table in the GP?
Depends on who I'm playing.
Absolutely not. Never.
The sweatiest neckbeard in the world, I'm holding them. But like, FNM, I'm putting him on the table. I did this tonight. I put him on the table. I usually do it. If I respect my opponent, if they're cool, there's definitely times where I've kept them in my hand.
If I respect my opponent, I'm putting them directly in my hand, shuffling my hand. Anything I could do to, I was like, oh, no.
I'll give him that edge. I'll give him that
Nah,
edge.
no. I mean, I'll do it for like a new player. Like I'll leave him
Yeah,
or whatever. But honestly, if you're doing it against me, I don't even want you to do it. I want to work my memory. You know what I mean? Like I want to.
Absolutely.
I like it when people do it for me.
Yeah. I always caution people when they do that too, because they forget sometimes. Like it's just there. Like
It's
they
on the
just
table.
haven't played that card in a while. Like, it's pretty bad sometimes. I've seen people do that where they just put something to the side and they just forgot it was in their hand.
Have you ever played against someone though that fucking like the reason why I put it on the table too is have you ever played against someone who's try hard enough to where they write down every single card in your hand and it takes like 3 minutes for them to sit there and write down each card that they saw?
Mm-hmm.
That's
I would probably
annoying.
do that in a GP.
That's so
I'd probably
annoying.
do it.
Yeah, in like a GP probably, but like a FNM for like 2 prize packs, right? Like, I don't know. I don't like it. But yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, Andrew.
Robi.
Yeah, no, that's a sick tip. I'll try that too because
I never thought about doing it upside down though. Yeah,
me neither. Do you guys ever? Okay, sidebar here. Sorry.
All right, let's go.
Do you guys ever see what a person like? Do you guys ever notice when a person tops a land and just plays it? Like,
yes,
is that extra unnecessary information, right?
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah,
right.
You wanna shuffle them up. I always do it.
Yeah. Like even if it's just like a little quick shuffle in your hand, right? Like even if you're gonna, because like if you do that to me on say turn 2, that's given me quite a bit of information. I think.
Oh
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes I do it just to give my opponent information. Like I've metagame it sometimes though.
Yeah.
Just to seem like a noob.
Yeah, you do a lot of stuff to seem like a noob.
yeah. It's all intentional.
I think you might actually be a noob.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you're mythic. You're mythic, right?
Yeah. Yep,
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore. Actually, no one's mythic anymore.
Yeah. Plat scrub.
You're all plebes again.
I just like to say that we did it.
With Andrew. Yeah.
Do we really have to do it again? Like we did it.
I can't do it again this set.
I won't do it again this set either. I don't think.
Gotta wait for Brothers War to be mythic again.
It's just not as fun to like grind it out like twice, right?
What did you
get tired of it?
Were you a rank or were you a percentile?
I think I was a percentage.
I started off as a rank, but then I just kind of was done with the grind fest and tanked it. Yeah. I started off like 800 some. I played against like a top 20 guy, I think. But yeah.
I don't know.
I just started doing fun stuff like 18 damage on turn 3.
I've always just like tested my skill out. I don't know, it just sharpens the blade.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I just get sick of it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's tough just playing the same game over and over again though. I mean, really, like, I'll jam like some league games and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to play more league right now. Yeah,
like,
it's still a game.
So for my tip of the week, mine is specifically about Night of Dawn's Light, because this is something I really struggle with. Remembering that it gains you an extra life whenever you play anything that gains you life. If you were to gain life, you gain that much life plus 1. I forget it literally all the time. Tonight I did a little better, but my deck had tons of random ways to gain life, and everyone always forgets it. So,
but some object on your life tracker, like a dice box or a dice lid or a die.
I just write it.
Well, so put on your notepad, right? On your notepad, put like a little tracker over your life, so that way to remind you when you have Night of the Dawn's Light that like there's something on here that shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Like that. Like that's what I do for like upkeep triggers and stuff, right? Like when I have
put a dice on your thing.
Yeah, on my deck. So just put something on there to try to remind you. Maybe that'll help.
Yep, that's my tip for the week. Yep, I had a couple games where I like forgot to gain my extra life off my Mesa Cavalier.
Yeah,
yeah, but
the extra life is super nice, honestly, too, because a lot of games come to the wire, right?
Yeah.
So here's your sign. These are the kind of things that you get in that. These are picks that happen around the 4, 5, 6 area, and it's probably time to move in. And so for my pick for going in is actually Citizen's Arrest. The double pip really tells you that white's open. Like base white deck is open. And I think it's time when you see this kind of card, especially going that late. One, it's a removal spell, so it's already good. But two, that double pip, you may want to reevaluate your kind of picks there and skew more towards the white. And so maybe you pick another one or two of these up. So that'd be great.
I don't know if you guys are like me, but do you consider any of the first 3 picks signals? Like,
not really.
Because you can't, right?
No.
Like the only first 2 to 3 picks that you can consider signals are like the toppest end of rares, like Sphinx, Sholdred, Wingmantle Chaplain.
Yeah.
Like
what I consider like my like realistically, I consider like my sign to go into a color like pick 13 of pack 1. That's usually where I'm like, I'll usually go into something, but like I won't usually stay there unless I pick 13 or I just know I'm forcing.
I think your prime signaling is in that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 9. Just because
the wheel's good.
Wheel, And then once you get to the other stuff, it's kind of like chaff after that, honestly. Because then people start, especially at FNM, sometimes people just go for they think card looks cool. It's just like,
yeah.
You know, I've been guilty of that too. Sometimes I see
like me and you with Raven Man, right? We're just like, fucking Raven Man is cool.
Yeah. Well, Raven Man's actually pretty good there, right? Like
he's okay.
Like,
he's not like amazing, right? But he's cool.
But he's not going to wheel, right?
Yeah, never.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's just like, that's a cool pick. And you're talking like, and I'm talking after the wheel, and you're like in that 11th, 10th, 12th, and beyond pick. And it's like, okay, people are just like, I got a cool stained glass land. That's great.
Yeah. I don't think, I think like if you get something completely shocking last pick, like I don't think that necessarily means it's open. I just think that could have been the pack loaded in that color, right?
Yeah. Like today I opened up a pack that had, 7 blue cards in it. And I'm like, oh, well, there you go.
I will say it's interesting that you think Citizen's Arrest is your sign to move into white. I mean,
really
that early, like I think I'm just not that high on it. Like I'm
off on it. But
yeah.
I like it. I think it's fun. I think I've had it. It's just been solid every time I played it. But I think it's a sign to go base white.
Right.
Not splash white. This is base white because of that double pip. And I think when you see double pip cards in general going that late, it should tell you that someone is not in that color base, they're splashing.
Yep, for sure. But like even so, like even if you get like a double pip card, that doesn't necessarily mean that color's open. It just means that the base of that color's open. It's like people could still be snagging all the good single pip cards, which is really just read as like all the good cards, right? Like a lot of double pip cards are good, but like single pip cards are usually where you want to be in this draft, right?
Well, if you're going to be open to like splashing things, definitely that's where you want to be. Or if you're going into domain or into that weird kind of 4-color territory, I think so. I mean, really, you want to have the least double pip cards as you can, so you're not committed to one thing, and it makes your dual lands more effective.
Yeah. Yep. Good stuff. What do you think is the best color to offset the base white with the Citizen's Arrest?
That's a little interesting. I like it with blue. I mean, I really do. I think blue white, just there's so many good complements to it. Black is quite good too. I haven't really tried the red version of that just yet. I just don't see it.
I don't think red white's playing Citizen's Arrest.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think so either. Yeah,
I think blue white flyers is like legit probably one of the best decks in the format.
Yeah,
I think so. I think there's just if people are willing to play walls in their deck, then you should be willing to play a Mesa Cavalier to fly over.
I'm way up on Mesa Cavalier. I've been playing the shit out of Mesa Cavalier.
He's so wrong.
Yeah.
I've been like lately, like it's just like some decks just can't deal with it, and it's
that's true.
So good.
Chip them away for 2, and then
it's not no Academy Drake, but that 2 life ain't nothing. 2 life ain't nothing.
Oh man,
yeah, Zorius is making its way up there. It's getting played quite a bit.
So Robi, what kind of signs do you see?
Any of the common creatures that get their casting costs reduced for certain things in each color, like the whole cycle, I think they're all good signs. Like Obviously, some are better than others, but I think if you're like seeing these pretty late, I think it's a pretty good idea to just pick them up and try to do the thing. Like, obviously, the best one is Tolarian Terror, the one that's costs one less for each instant or sorcery card in your graveyard. I think like once you see these, it's okay to just move into that and just try to start doing the thing. The second best one is the Phalanx, I think. And that's the one that costs one less for each creature you control, followed by the Necromass, which costs one less for each creature card in your graveyard. And then the Monstrosity. And I think the Sojourner is the worst one, but I still think they're all playable.
I agree with you, Sojourner as well being the worst one. It's actually the only one in this set that can't be reduced to 1.
Yeah, which kind of the monstrosity is kind of wishful thinking.
I think the monstrosity goes in a very certain deck where all these other ones can kind of go in just that color, right?
Well, it's the one that's the hardest to do the thing for sure.
Like I think in the green red bust deck or the Gaia's Might deck, like I think it's fine, right? Like I think that's what it was made to do. But I think in just any red deck, it's not going to be that good. Like
I've often played
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've often played the Tolarian Terror and the Molten Monstrosity in the same deck. Just lowering the Terror's cost and it therefore lowers the Monstrosity cost. And it was
they kind of go together. Like some of them will kind of all of these cards just like basically tell you what you should be doing in that color, except like the Monstrosity, like Ryan said. Like that's more of a specific one. But as for like all the other ones, it's pretty like easy to like pick up on what it wants you to do. Like the Necromass, you just want to put creatures in your graveyard. Like,
you don't want to self-mill though, right? You just want to play bodies.
You can though. You can. Like just doing the thing. Like they all have a thing and all those things are valid.
I get Necromasses go last pick like a lot. You notice that?
Like Necromass is the one I splash the most, probably. Like I just jam that in everything.
It's solid for sure.
Yep, but that's what I got for this week. What do you have, Ryan?
So I think if you're seeing our Givian Cavaliers, that's the 2/2 that makes a 1/1, and it has enlist for 3. I think if you're seeing those beyond pick 5, you should definitely move it to the go wide deck, either white, red, white, black.
Do you need to?
Yeah, it's the real deal. Yeah.
You don't think it's just splashable, like a good splashable card?
It's like a good splashable card, but if you're seeing them like that late, I think it's like, why wouldn't you want to play one of the best decks? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Boros and Orzhov and Selesnya are some of the top win rate decks, really. I mean, and they're all go wide decks with the Cavalier. I think you just do it. Like, I don't think you would even like, you can splash Cavalier, sure. Like, why wouldn't you? It's a good card.
What I'd do.
But I think
splash them a lot.
But yeah, I think if you're seeing, especially if you're seeing multiples, I think you should just move in.
What about blue white? Is
you can play him in blue white, but Cavalier's not a sign that blue white's open. You know what I mean?
I kind of disagree. I think the blue white deck can go wide too.
I mean, it can. It just doesn't quite as hard.
I think it's better.
Okay, would you rather have this in the blue white deck or the 2/3 flyer in the blue white deck?
This.
What? Stop.
Yes.
This.
Yes.
This.
Yeah. This turns on your Protect the Negotiators, which no one takes except unless you're in blue white.
It enables Wrath. Like Wrath is really good for this.
Yeah, like the best the best pump spell in the format. Like blue white's no joke, Ryan. Like even
I know
blue white go wide. Blue white go wide is the thing.
I'm looking this up right now. Soaring Drake does have a slightly better win drawn.
What about opening hand win rate?
Opening hand win rate is significantly worse, but win drawn is better.
What about the Argivian Cavalier?
Yeah, that's what I'm comparing it to.
Is it opening hand win rate's better?
Argivian Cavalier's opening hand win rate is significantly better than the thing in the blue white deck specifically, but the win drawn win rate is higher on the Drake.
Yeah,
I will say stall for time. Like these are cards that are like quote unquote better win drawn than both of these cards in the blue white deck. Stall for time Phyrexian Espionage, Automatic Librarian, Shore Up, Voda Sea Scavenger, Tolarian Geyser, Meteorite.
Wow.
Yeah, Meteorite's just a victim of not being played that much, so it's like very
that's not
anecdotal data. It's not real data. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Destroy Evil, Talus Lookout, Gibbering Barricade is significantly better in the white blue deck than either of those two cards. But yeah,
People just don't know about it.
I mean, I think
just
people
don't
know about it. I think people know about it. It is the second highest opening hand win rate card in the deck, though.
Yeah, it's good.
The opening hand win rate isn't everything, as we all know.
Yeah.
Doesn't really do anything for you on turn 7 in the white blue deck, like it does in the other the real go white decks, if you will.
The real ones,
Yeah, the real ones.
Blue white go white's a thing.
I'd rather have flyers. I feel like I'd rather have Talus Lookouts and.
Yeah, you can do that too.
But like now, if I'm taking these over, then I'm definitely not getting those flyers, right?
A lot of times you just get them like.
I just don't think he's a signal that white blue's there. I do think he's more of a signal that like one of the more.
He's a signal that
white.
I don't think he's a signal that go white strategy that just white's open and people don't know how to draft it.
You think so?
Yeah, and then you can just move into any of those.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess I'm just more apt to move into white red or white black with him.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, let's talk about this Arena Open that we might play. We're recording this on a Friday night. We're considering playing it on Saturday.
To clarify, me and Ryan don't really want to do it. Andrew wants to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. A little Packmates runoff there.
Yeah. It's like a carnival game. It's like a scam. Like might as well just answer your phone all day and you have the same chance of getting a check for $2,000,
Oh man.
That's hilarious. I don't know. It's a sealed too, and I hate sealed.
Did you hate sealed?
Yeah, on accident because I accidentally spent my gems.
I wish I would be down more to do it.
I have to do it.
I would be down more to do it if both games were sealed. I feel like people game the system, like they put on all these like stopgaps to stop them from doing it, but you just can't. Like
this is misinformation.
This is my boomer mentality right here.
Yeah, this is like the election was rigged, right?
Yeah, this really is. This is get your tinfoil hats on, boys. And like at least I'm like aware enough to know that this is kind of deranged, right? Like so, like maybe I don't have dementia really. But no, like statistically, for you to take home money in this is just absurdly low. And then the best way to do it is to do it with your buddies and then try to get in the same draft and do your best to like help each other out. And like even though I would not condone that and wouldn't do that, I know that people do that. And it's they do it in traditional draft, they do it all the time. And why wouldn't they do it when there's $2,500 on the line? You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's I just think it's just completely ridiculous. And the fact that they're like raising the prices right now for
$30 now, like
it's just absurd. I mean, in order for you to have I see some old statistics now. These aren't the most up to date. I didn't really run the numbers myself, but like in order for your chances, if you have a 60% win rate in general, your chances to day 2 are like 20 some percent, like 23% on one run. So, 4 to 5 runs if you want to have a very good shot at day 2, and that's still not a guarantee. So we're talking $120 to maybe day 2. Then you have to 3-0 a draft, and then you have to do like 3-0 a draft before you can even get to money. I mean, I don't know. Against everyone else that day 2'd, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, against all the other 60%.
Not even all the other good players, right?
Yeah.
Like, no more slouches there. I mean,
yeah.
Like, I feel like I would be more apt to play this if it was like a legitimate prize. Like, I feel like 2,500 is terrible price support for this grueling of an event.
I think that's pretty good. I mean, really, like realistically, how much were you winning in a GP or something like that? You go to a 5K, you're not winning $5,000. You're winning $2,000.
But like, you can't game a GP. Like, you can't scam a GP. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. I don't know. You have more control over a GP, I feel like, and it's just straightforward.
Yeah,
it's not like you can't enter a GP as many times as you want. That's like a gambling mechanism that people use in poker, right? Like,
yeah,
huh?
Gotta hit your rebuys.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know. I feel like if this was like all sealed, I'd be more down to do it. If it was drafts where you play against only the people on your table, I'd be down to do it. If there were, and also like that's the other thing with draft. Even if people like didn't scam it, right? Which like it would probably be hard. I've never tried to do it. Like it'd probably be pretty hard to like scam it and get in a draft with your friends. I'd assume. I'd assume there's some stopgaps in there that like make it to where you can't really do that efficiently or effectively, right?
Yeah, they try to make when you day two one of these events, you really have a window of just like 2 hours to register and get your deck built.
Yeah, and so that floods the queue, right? So you can't really.
That's what they're really trying to do there.
But go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, please.
But if I get in the, so I paid all this money. You know, I tried 5 times. I paid $120, $150, whatever. And then I get a day 2, and I get a draft pod with just weak or poor card quality.
Yeah,
I'm just out of luck. Like, just too bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the same thing with opening the sealed, though. I mean, you can kind of tell right away with your sealed deck, like, oh, I'm gonna have a tough time, or this is gonna be a cakewalk. Like the one I day 2'd, it was like I looked at the pool and I was like, I don't know how the heck I'm not gonna lose a match. Like really, I mean, it was just all on color rares and mythics, and I'm like, this is just 2-color deck, easy street. There's some of them where I've day 2'd where I was like, this is gonna be a grind.
Yeah, but there's just some players that can take like any sealed pool and do well with it. They might not max win, right? But like they can really do super well. What's up?
I said that's the frustrating part about this. It's just like getting to that sixth win, trying to get over that hump, and you just know the deck just doesn't have the steam to get into the echelon of those 7-0 decks or those 7-2 decks. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I wish that we had numbers on the amount of entries, the people that actually win money, how much money's actually given out versus how much they're making, how much gems they're given. Because I guarantee they're making a ton on this. Like I guarantee the price supports could be better. I guarantee that so many people are just throwing their money away trying to do this. And not even walking out with even money in gems, honestly. Like if you day 2, just because you day 2 doesn't even mean you win anything.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Because like it's already hard to 7 win just a draft.
Yeah. Like that takes a pretty absurd win rate. Is it best of 2? Best of 3?
Yeah, day 2 is best of 3.
Day 1 is best of 1 though, right?
Day 1 you can usually pick. You can do either. But it's better to do best of 1.
Best of 1's a little bit more forgiving.
And how many losses do you have to get? Or is it like a normal draft where you have to like 7 win?
You got a 7 win.
You got a 7
before
win.
you get 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think on day 2 you only get 2 losses and that's it. Or maybe just 1 if it's
I think 1, yeah. I think 1 in the draft.
You got 1 to give. That's it. Crazy.
Like, I don't know. I would do it if we sat down and I knew that one of us in this arena was going to win the tournament. Like, that's what's different between this and a GP. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, if you think of a GP versus this is, equivalent of, I don't know, 6 rounds in a GP. Well, no, I guess it'd be like 8.5 rounds, right? Because you play like 7 best of 1s, maybe 9 best of 1s.
Yeah, that's a shit ton.
And then 6 best of 2s or best of 3s. If you made it all the way, how many people that win a GP actually do that? Like undefeated through 9 rounds.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
You convinced me. Well, I already kind of didn't want to do it. But
like it's fun, right? Like you just have realistic expectations.
Like have a limited podcast here.
I'm going to throw my money away, right? Like throwing my money into a void.
If you enjoy, if you think
Like,
Magic needs money and Hasbro needs money and Wizards of the Coast needs money, this is a good way to donate.
Yeah.
I can't believe
I'm not crazy about it. Like I'll do it if I have to for content, but I would also like be okay with just never doing it and just boycotting it for my entire life and having a T-shirt that said "fuck the draft open."
Like I would do it if it was like completely different.
Yeah, so you wouldn't do it, right?
I might end up doing it just because like I like to think that I'm good at Magic, but even though like my win rate is only like 60%, right? But
yeah,
I just think that the way that the prizes are structured and everything is just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem correct to me. Like I feel like if you day 2, you should make like 2 to 3 entries worth of money back, like gems at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should just be working for your entry feedback.
Yeah. Or if you get, I don't know. It's just a way to get gems out of the system, really, is what it is on Magic Arena, gems and gold. Like to take it away from people.
Yeah. Or you game the system and have multiple accounts.
Yeah. And then, I mean, if you win like $2,000 or 2,500, that's awesome. Like if you love doing it, like that's awesome. Like do it. Like whatever you like about Magic is awesome. So
yeah.
Dude, I think it's really fun. I mean, it's kind of fun. You're just basically entering in a tournament at that point. If you're just willing to just do it one time, it's
way harder though, right? That's Ryan's point. Is it's like harder to win this than a real tournament?
Yeah, I think so. More unrealistic.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Like the whole format for day 2 is just the format of cut to top 8 in a GP. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have to do 2 cut to top 8 performances.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
So every 8 people that make it to day 2, one of those 8 people advances to the second draft, and then one of those 8 people. So 1 out of every 64 people get $2,500 that make it to day 2, and all of those people are 60% win rate people, or most of them are. So your 60% win rate doesn't mean anything that on day 2. Really?
No. You're only as good as your last draft.
Yep, that's the truth.
Huh?
That's the truth.
Yeah, that's why I'm sick. That's why I'm a sick 4th place.
Did you say Sigma?
Yeah. No, that's why I said I'm a sick 4th place.
Sigma.
Sigma 4th place.
Yeah. Of the week.
Are we cutting to that?
I feel like I talked too much on that one. I
feel like we went way off.
I'm gonna cut it up.
All right, good.
This one's gonna have a lot of cuts.
All right. Do you want to introduce our Sigma of the week, Andrew?
All right. So this week we have a special Sigma of the week for his 2-1-0 performance. Garnering him a 4th place finish. Best of the Packmates in standings, but not in actual wins and losses. By standings.
Yeah, just standings.
We
take those. We take those.
And he ducked the heads up. I challenged him to. He ducked it.
He ducked it?
I'll do it later. We'll do that for content.
Completely ducked. Like he was dabbing.
With your sick set booster rare.
Hey, I don't pick the drafts. I just perform, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So since I'm this week, I'm killing the segment, and I'm not going to say anything because I hate Alpha of the Week.
Is it because you're not Alpha of the Week most of the time?
No.
Yeah.
No, not particularly.
You only get on those 2-1 weeks.
It's because I'm a wild animal, Andrew.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't have the pack. I lead the pack. I'm just kidding. But yeah. Well, yeah, I don't have anything to say. That's all, folks.
All right.
Well, we'll do a quick moment of silence, grieving your guys' losses. All right. Yep. That was
All right. So since you've given us so much great information, I thought it might be a good idea to try to get into your head. Sigma of the week. What's he thinking? What does he do? How does he react? So we got a pack one, pick one here, and we're gonna try to figure out what Robi would do. We have a couple cards as options, or do you want to give us options?
Yeah. Each person picks 2.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I'll go first. Shield Wall Sentinel, the 4-mana Wall Finder, and Pixie Illusionist.
The
1 mana fixer, yeah.
Okay, so those are 2 options. Andrew, what do you see as 2 options in this pack?
I see Captain's Call and Urborg Repossession.
Wow. Okay. I see Knight of Dawn's Light, the 2/2 first striker, and Valiant Veteran, the 2/2 Anthem for Soldiers for 2. All soldiers get +1/+1, or you can exile them for 5 and give all soldiers a 1/1 counter. If I'm Robi, I think I still have to admit when I see a good card, and I have to just take that good card. Even though I don't want to, and it goes against everything I believe in. But I know I'm going to need 41 of these suckers in my deck. So I'm going to take a Knight of Dawn's Light. Hands down. Easy pick.
All right, Andrew, what do you think?
If I'm a Robi, I might be looking at that Sky Knight, actually. I don't know why. I just feel like either the sky.
That wasn't one of the options, Andrew.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I am looking at that Sky Knight.
Also, Essence
I
Scatter
do
is an
like-
option.
Yeah. Like we could just say all the cards, yeah. Because like
This is
I
a
do
legit
think,
pack.
yeah, like I would just take a bunch of random shit in this pack. Like there's so many good
There's
picks.
some quality cards in this pack. Like you got the tribute. Even the Valiant Veteran is actually quite good too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would consider taking that with my first pick too. The value,
Especially knowing that, like, honestly, I would take the Veteran and try to wheel the Captain's Call.
that never happens. So people just think it's too good.
Yeah,
The Captain's Call?
Yeah, I've never wheeled them.
Dang.
I always try to, but
Me too.
nobody ever lets me.
I tried today. I was like, this is going to happen. Nope.
Yeah, never does. Yeah, so what's your final pick, Andrew?
Final pick. I'm going to take the Urborg repossession for you.
Okay, so I would probably pick the Veteran, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's just,
that was
it's
my
just
second
good.
guess.
Yeah,
It's
that
just
was my second
good, right?
Yeah.
I'm on Valiant Veteran, Essence Scatter, Tribute of Urborg.
All right, this is how I know you're full of shit because you're naming these cards over knights, and you always have a knight in your deck. You
That's-
always
Yeah,
do.
but I would always take an Essence Scatter over them.
But he
No
also-
shot. There's no shot.
Oh.
You're taking lands
Yeah.
and essence scatters over knights, and you're still getting
Yeah.
knights. There's absolutely no shot.
Yeah, you're not getting
Yeah,
that.
I do. I get them passed.
What?
Yeah,
Incredible.
all the time. People don't respect them.
And the only reason I think you take a knight over the veteran is because the knight's way more splashable. Like the knight goes
The
in
knight-
any splash deck, and the
It's
veteran
not
kinda goes in the
really
soldier deck.
splashable though, because like you want lots of planes, right?
No, like I think a 3/3 first striker is good enough. You just did play it in a splash.
Is there
deck.
off-color soldiers, like
Uh,
non-white soldiers? Could I build a soldier deck that's not white, that's splashing
out.
white?
That seems sus.
Yeah, but it could be fun. I did play against a goblins deck tonight, Andrew.
That's-
that was mega sus.
That's you should
It was about the best version I think you could ever get in a draft.
You should ask
though.
Ryan about my elf deck that I made.
How'd that do?
It was good, yeah.
It was really good. Actually,
The goblin deck could have been good, like unironically. It was like he had two of the goblin lords.
There are no off-color soldiers, but there's off-color card that makes soldiers like Scout the Wilderness, Protect the Negotiators,
Oh yeah,
Phyrexian Warhorse, Keldon Strike Team.
I played Valiant Veteran and Blue White. Yeah,
I have to.
with just with like Protect the Negotiators. That's what makes the Blue White go white deck. That and the Phalanx.
Yeah.
And our Graven Cavalier.
Yeah, yeah, and even unironically, the Serpent, the Taurean Terror.
You gotta
'Cause
have
if you got a shit ton of Captain's Calls and Protect the Negotiators, you're making your tears real cheap.
like I think it's definitely just it's always good to have a couple curve toppers, right? Like
Yeah.
just when you get flooded or something, you just want to have that over the top 5/5. Just can you beat this
Beater.
creature?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also don't hate the Sky Knight either. In this pack. I like that
I feel like
card
the
a
Sky
lot.
Knight's a lot weaker than like
Yeah,
Those
it's worse than
teams.
all these, but yeah, I still like it though.
I feel like pack one, pick one. I'm taking tribute to Urborg. over
I
the
love
Sky Knight.
seeing the Sky Knight on the wheel though. That's
Yeah.
sick.
When you're already
Those-
in the white blue and you got a raff
Yeah.
or two. Like I feel like the person I feel like a lot of times the white blue deck guy gets like two raffs. Like I know it just happened in FNM, but like it happens all the
literally
time on
just had
Arena.
I literally just had two rafts. Right?
So did Andrew the week before, but like
Yeah.
it happens like a lot though. Like
It happens more often than it should.
people still disrespect the rafts for sure.
Rastlo's so good. He's the best 2-drop cycle of those cards for sure. I'm on him.
Ellis Ilcor is pretty good too. The two should
Oh,
get toucher.
of course.
Raft's better though.
I think Ellis might be. Man, I've lost some games just to Ellis's random just life gain.
Or
that.
like the
Raft
live
is more
isn't it?
versatile. Ellis
Yes.
is if you're in the focus deck, the ceiling's higher, I think.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I lost to him in a defender's deck, and they were just playing wing
Yeah,
chaplains and just
yeah. Well, that's
Oh,
focused. That's
Yeah.
focused, right? Because you're gaining a shit ton of life, and
it was just
he
he
gets
happened,
real stupid in that.
it was
So
bad.
does Raft though. So does Raft get. Raft
Yeah,
gets real
Raft is-
stupid in
yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's all, folks. That's
Good
all we
job.
got for this
See ya
week.
as we blast off into
Bye.
infinity.